What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Barbells and Trails podcast. I am your host, Brett, back with episode 27, and we are here this morning, and I am slowly but surely dying. I'm going to be straightforward with you guys. This is probably most definitely going to be the shortest, possibly least energetic, and probably the worst episode with topics. I'm gonna be blunt. I was up, so I'll tell you exactly what time it is right now. It is 5:39 a.m. on the day this podcast is dropping. I was up till 12:20 and trying to finish a book that I wanted to do this episode on. And at the time, by the time I finished the book, I realized what time it was. And I really wanted to record that episode. I did want it to be really good, and that's one reason why I wanted to finish the episode. And was writing down ideas and stuff I wanted to do with it. There's stuff I wanted to do when editing and kind of tell a story with this episode, because this was supposed to be a more serious topic or kind of focus on one thing. And by the time I was all said and done and realized what time it was, I realized that the only way I was going to be able to do this was if I either probably stayed up for another 2 hours minimum, if not longer, tonight, or waking up early this morning, which is already fairly early for me, to then record and try editing it. And then I realized I was going to be putting myself so on the spot that I probably wasn't even going to be able to edit it like I wanted to. I wanted to start using a few different tools that I've kind of seen and stuff I wanted to do for it to make that episode what I had in my mind. And so I decided against it. I do wish I made that decision probably 3 hours sooner, where I could have just said in my head, hey, how about I just record a more simple regular episode this week, still finish this book, and record it, and have time to edit it and do all this stuff and post it next week, so I won't be sleep deprived. My brain didn't think about it because I thought I was going to be able to finish reading that book hours before I actually did. So, let's just say I really enjoyed the book and I really wanted to do that topic pretty in-depthly, and I had different ideas for what I wanted to do. But I just realized at the time, I was like, I don't have time today to try getting it out like I want. It's like, I got to record something. And I actually have basically been awoken since 4:30, but I hit snooze considering I only had 4 hours of sleep. So I did hit snooze a few times, and I finally dragged my ass out of bed shortly after 5. So now we're here trying to record this real quick. I still have to, after I'm done recording, kind of edit this a little bit, make a thumbnail, and upload, get all this basically scheduled and ready for 12 o'clock today. Obviously, if you're listening to this, it's 12 o'clock or later, but I have to be at work or leave for work at 7, and I still gotta get ready this morning. So I got a lot to do in about an hour and 10 minutes. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of make this episode to kind of be like, hey, there's not a lot going on here, but I didn't want to miss a day. That was part of it, was I did not want to miss uploading an episode. And I have to admit, if I would have gotten on reading that book a little more this weekend, I probably would not have been in this predicament. But, when you got the weekend time every once in a while, sometimes stuff happens. But Speaking of the weekend, I'm trying to think what I did. I went to a birthday party for my cousin and got decently buzzed off of the drink I made myself before I left the house to head over. It was bring your own pretty much. I could have got refills, but I realized I poured myself pretty heavy on the vodka in my good old bottle, and it hit me pretty damn hard a little bit later, so I had to make sure to eat some food. But the thing about that party was I found out a story that I had never heard that probably happened 7 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah, we'll say 6 or 5 years ago, somewhere in that range. And so let's just say the cousin's house I went to, about my third cousin, used to live next door to my aunt. They're first cousins, so obviously, yeah, whatever. They both have kids, different ages, but they lived right next door to each other there for a while. And one day, 6 odd years ago, my aunt was at home cleaning bottles for her baby in the sink, standing at her windowsill at the sink, washing dishes, and okay. So she's sitting there cleaning dishes. She happens to glance out the window. And would you know what she saw? No, you would not. Because she looked out the window and saw my cousin's husband out in their backyard, straight across from my aunt, with a shop vac. Shop vacuuming dog shit. And this, for one, I don't think has ever been seen by many human eyes. Someone else has definitely fucking done it. But this is in a subdivision, and my aunts just happen to be home alone. My cousin actually is out of town with her daughter, so it's only her husband at home. And no one had any clue he was doing this. So my aunt then decided to take a picture, send it to a group chat of everyone in my family, and then sneak slightly outside on their back patio to record a video of him sucking up dog shit with the vacuum. And this was the first time I ever had heard this story, which is super surprising to me and some of the people at the party. And he thought he was a genius, because he thought, what better way to clean up dog shit than just suck it up? And my aunt was in complete shock. She sent the video to the family. Everybody was like, what the fuck is he doing? And he's just out there sucking up dog turds through his fucking shop vac. And so they sent it to his wife. She got home and then got in and acted kind of oblivious. It was like, hey, why does the fucking garage smell like burnt dog shit? And he kind of played it off, and he's like, oh, I really don't know. She was like, what'd you do today? He's like, oh, just kind of cleaned up, whatever. And then he didn't want to say anything or own it. So she then admitted that she's like, I know what the hell you did. Why the fuck were you shop vacuuming dog shit in the backyard? And he just looked at her. He's like, I'm a fucking genius, right? And she's like, what? He's like, yeah, this is $1 million idea. I'm going to develop a filter. I'm going to do all this. I'm going to put this together. I'm going to make a patent. We're going to be rich. This is a great idea. No one's ever thought about it. This is awesome. And I think he was going to call it the shit back or something. I think that was right. And all this shit. She's like, you're a fucking idiot. Now my fucking garage smells like burnt dog shit. And he just happened to think this was the most normal, ingenious idea he's ever fucking had. And he was completely wrong. And so he ended up actually, I guess, Googling, I don't know, shitbacks. I really don't know. And found that someone's already done it. So sadly, he could not patent and become a millionaire off of his dog shit vacuum cleaner. And so his wife just was very disappointed and left him to be. But he's definitely a character in their neighborhood. Not long ago this summer, that same man actually found out that he was allergic to poison ivy in the dumbest way possible. He was flying his daughter's toy helicopter, happened to fly it over a neighbor's backyard, and I think it died or crashed or something. The controller died, it lost range, whatever, being the helicopter took an emergency landing. So he decided, gotta go get it. He went and I think took bolt cutters and cut off the lower section of the fence in his backyard. It's an old steel like fence, whatever. So he cuts off these pieces of steel or pieces of fence to kind of open it up. Instead, at that point, just saying fuck it and cutting the whole thing, because it's a very fucking old fence, he cut just a little bit and army crawled his way under the fence, walked through someone else's yard, jumped over another fence to then get the helicopter, as that neighbor was coming outside to let her dog to take a piss. Scared the living fuck out of both of them. He ended up getting back over all this shit. I think electrical or duct taping the fence back together and went about his day. I'm guessing he was in shorts, and I'm guessing he didn't know there was poison ivy there, because he ended up with poison ivy on his shins and did not realize that he was allergic. So his skin got completely fucked. I think in total he had 2 or 3 steroid shots. Or he was taking steroids for who knows how long, maybe a month. Putting on cream, all of this shit. And my cousin told me when I first found out that his legs look like ground beef. So that's not the most appealing, considering that's your husband. And not only that, but in that same time period, the neighborhood found out he developed some hemorrhoids. Don't fucking know why, how, or where the fuck that came from, but I guess he kind of became the neighborhood hemorrhoid guy. And I think originally he had told my grandfather when they were out golfing that his ass was fucking hurting. And so then he decided to tell their other neighbors and other people, and eventually it got around. As of this moment, I do not know if he's still suffering from his hemorrhoids. If so, my condolences, and hopefully his asshole will come back to peace. As for other shit I was planning on talking about, I've been listening to a lot of Charlie Puth recently. He just released this album, I think, like last month. I don't know. I don't keep up with this stuff. It's new. And I just happened to see a clip from, was it The Late Show with Jimmy Fallon, where he made a beat from the sound of a cup and a spoon. I was very impressed. Thought that was really cool. I knew of Charlie Puth. I knew of some of his music. I knew of his music, and I was just kind of curious, and then I heard that he had an album. So I looked into it, and I kind of listened to it, and then I saw that he had been very large on TikTok and posting on YouTube Shorts and doing all this stuff basically since the pandemic. And he had done TikToks about creating all these songs on the album and showing kind of how he did it and all this stuff. Here, I did not know at the time that this man was basically a musical genius and was perfect, had perfect pitch, and a beatboxer. I did not know all of this. I mean, I knew of his hit songs before that. No clue about any of it. So here I am. I'm watching some of his old TikToks, basically where you take specific sounds and put them together and try creating different tones and all this stuff from random shit and creating his music that ended up being the songs on this album. It's not bad. I would have really been interested in possibly going and seeing him in person. I think he's on tour at the moment. Unless he started really early this summer and he's on the very last section of the tour, I'll be kind of okay with that. But if not, considering I don't think this album had been out all year, it's not much of a tour because I kind of looked. He's hitting up some like major cities. He's gonna be like Canada, Chicago, and like a few other places, LA, all this shit. I was like, what the fuck? So the closest you are to me is, I think, 4 hours. I can't remember how far Chicago is. I haven't been up there in years. And I looked. It was like a $50 ticket. I contemplated. Then I looked at the date, and I think it was actually, is it this Thursday? So tomorrow? It was either this Thursday or next Thursday in Chicago. And I was like, fuck that. It's a cheap ticket, but I cannot reasonably drive to Chicago for a concert on a Thursday and then come home. So I scratched that idea. But his music is very good, and I didn't realize how interesting he was as a music producer and his methods. So it was really cool to find that out. But okay, one other thing I do want to talk about real quick. It's not the end of the month yet. I still got this podcast, which probably isn't going to do well, and maybe a couple other videos that I clip out of this. And in all reality, that might be one, because this isn't a long episode. I'm literally watching the clock now. I'm probably going to record for another 10 minutes, and that's it. This will probably most definitely be the shortest video. So I did want to thank you guys for so far and what will be my best month ever. By the end of the month, I think now I have already basically hit that for certain, that this month alone I have had 1,000 views and gained 15 subscribers. Does not sound like a lot, but it's a lot for me. I mean, I just this month started recording video, and since then, I had been recording this podcast and posting since the very end of April. So, considering I basically did a third of all my views in 1 month instead of May, June, July, August, September, instead of 5 to get to 2,000 views. And not only that, but double my subscribers from where I still was originally, probably in June, where most of those were people I physically know or basically told to subscribe to me. I'll be honest. It's really cool to see. Like, this is definitely my best performing month with basically every analytic. So it's really cool to hopefully see this grow. I will let you know that I actually also have a YouTube Shorts channel in the works. I'm still trying to plan that out, possibly even changing the podcast logo just a little bit, at least for the YouTube, and to create a YouTube Shorts channel to post very small clips on another channel for you guys. So I will let you know, and I'll hopefully announce that next week where you guys can go check that out. But I just want to let you know it's coming up, and I wanted to thank you guys for such a great month, and thank you to all my new subscribers. And I can't wait for you guys to see what I have planned over the next 2 months. Not only that, but last weekend, or 3 days ago, Sidemen posted their Sidemen Sunday. It was a blind date, but with a twist. They've done blind dates before. It was a blind date forfeit challenge, whatever. Forfeit blind date. Very different video from how they've done it in the past, where in situations you actually wanted to get out from these blind dates, because typically there's 7 of them. You would make your statement to answer some questions and hope to be the last one standing. This one they did a little differently, where there were some where you wanted to get out. There were some where you didn't. And part of it was because in certain situations, you would end up resulting in taking certain forfeits. And some of the forfeits were spicy wings, red ass, which is, if someone doesn't know, getting a football launched at your ass, sitting in a goal, acting like a dog, being dressed like a clown, and completely in makeup, and I think, last but not least, slimed. It wasn't I wouldn't say a super complicated video. It's different from how they did it. And I'm very surprised they didn't get canceled from some of the stuff they said. Obviously, this was for entertainment purposes only. But some of the stuff they said to the women, considering they were trying to get out. So they were trying to say shit that the person would dislike. So imagine you had 7 men actively trying to get picked as the worst out of the 7. What are they going to say to the answers of these dating questions for you to be the most turned off and off-turned by their answers to then vote them out? So these men were saying some ridiculous shit, and it was very, very interesting. I thought it was hilarious. It was a pretty good video, but definitely not for a younger audience by any means. And I think basically, last but not least, I got a couple more to talk about. But well, I actually think kind of to this point. All right. We're going to do a quick news segment. It's literally going to be very quick. So, here we are. The news. All right. Breaking news. I don't know if it's breaking, but Twitter reports losing top users. Per Reuters, an initial Twitter report found that platform is losing its most active users. Heavy users are those who use the app 6 to 7 days a week and tweet 3 or 4 times per week. They account for 90% of all tweets and 50% of revenue. Since 2020, more heavy users have become inactive and quit Twitter than ever before. Popular topics such as politics, sports, fashion have also declined, while crypto and porn now its fastest growing interest areas. Although top users reached a record high in 2022, the report suggests other quality may be lower, or user quality may be lower, sorry. Yeezys are now cut from Adidas. That's another top story. Then another thing here. New studies show that genetic link between bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. Schizophrenia distorts one's perspective on reality. Bipolar disorder causes extreme mood swings. Both have genetic causes and often run within families. Formerly, scientists did not believe the disorders were linked. New studies suggest that they are genetically similar, though the people who suffer from one or are more likely to suffer from the other. Okay, great. I don't think I have either, so that is a good thing. No, that's not a good thing, but it's interesting that they found that out, that those two are actually genetically linked. What else do we got here? Oh yeah, we got a new prime minister over in Britain. The shortest lived prime minister in British history, 45 days. Liz Truss is out of there. Here's some good news, hopefully. Rent prices begin to fall. Per Rent.com analysis, median U.S. rent prices fell 2.48% from August to September. Rents were up 7.5% this September over last, Bloomberg reports. But earlier this year, they were 18% higher than a year prior. October's rent drop so far is also higher than what it's seasonally expected and is on pace for the largest monthly drop since 2017. 69 out of 100 large U.S. cities experienced monthly rent drops in September, with Sacramento, Las Vegas topping that list. Others like NYC still rose. Economists speculate that high inflation is pushing renters to seek more affordable options. I believe that. Second, painting vandalization by activists. So something like this, I think, happened a month or two ago. Happened again. 2 Germans were arrested after throwing mashed potatoes on a $110 million piece of art. On Sunday, the 2 activists threw mashed potatoes on Claude Monet's Les Melus, I don't know, in a German art gallery, or The Last Generation, an organization that wants to ban fossil fuels, claimed responsibility for the stunt. The incident was similar to one earlier this month when 2 protesters affiliated with the Just Stop Oil threw tomato sauce on Van Gogh's sunflowers. Both paintings were covered by glass and thus unharmed, but climate groups claim they will continue. Crisis questions their methods, or critics question their methods. Sorry, it's early. Not only that, but Spotify Hall of Fame, most streamed albums on Spotify of all time. Number 2 is Divide by Ed Sheeran. Number 2 is Beers and Bentley by Post Malone. Number 3 is Dua Lipa by Dua Lipa. Number 4 is Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone. Number 5 is Future Nostradama by Dua Lipa. Number 6 is X by Ed Sheeran. Number 7 is whatever the fuck that means, because I really don't fucking know how to say that, by Billie Eilish. Number 8 is Question Mark by XXXTentacion. And I don't know how to say that one. For number 9, and Purpose with number 10, being Justin Bieber and Bad Bunny. Pretty interesting. The top 3 artists have 2 albums up there with over 12 billion streams, or over, well, it depends, but let's say 5 billion streams total. So that's very, very, very interesting. There was one more thing that I did want to talk about or read that I did see, and this one is kind of weird. bubonic plague mutation. A mutation that helped people survive the plague may be causing modern diseases, a study found. In the 1300s, the Black Death, or bubonic plague, killed up to half of Europe's population. Researchers analyzed 206 ancient skeletons, teeth's DNA, and found that the mutation of a specific gene gave some a 40% chance higher survival rate. This difference caused the strongest natural selection event in human history, scientists said. That gene is now much more common than before the plague, but it also is known to be linked to increased chance of autoimmune diseases. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense. I saw that and I was like, oh shit. When you think about it, autoimmune diseases, I feel like, are a lot more common, especially in European descent people, I feel like, for the most part. I think it might obviously be up overall, but considering the Black Plague had its largest impact in Europe, and 40% higher chance of survival rate with a mutation, obviously, basically is natural selection, which is kind of ridiculous. So it's weird. It's like that one situation in history might have caused some of the health issues we're dealing with today, which is really, really crazy to think about. But, all right, everybody, I will have to call it for today because I got to get this uploaded and edited here within the next half hour. But we will go from there. Next week, that episode will come out. I will at least let you guys know it is about Charity Water. If you don't know who they are, don't worry. I will explain it to you next week, and I will see you guys all then. If I don't see you guys before Halloween, have a happy Halloween. Don't party too hard. I'll see you guys all next week. Sorry for such a short and chaotic episode, but bear with me. I'll see you guys later. Peace out, everybody.